Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Monday Morning Coffee and Compliance. I am Lori, and Lisa is going to be in and out of our session today. So she sends her hellos to everyone, but we do have a very special guest with us today. I'm going to be chatting with my good friend, Coni Meyers, and she's just really amazing. If you have never heard her speak, she has so much knowledge in the area of preparedness and crisis management that she actually makes me want to fulfill my checklist of the to-dos for life to make sure that I'm prepared in the event of an emergency. So she's inspiring, and we're going to chat today. And so, Coni, thank you for being here, first of all.
Thank you for having me. I love chatting with you.
Yeah, it's always great to chat with you. So we have the opportunity, each month we do another session that you host on another platform. But today you get to join us for hours. And so I'm going to just touch on Coni's background and let her give you more info on that, because she's done so much. She is the founder and CEO of CKM Solutions, and CKM Solutions is crisis knowledge management. She has developed a company that focuses on educating people in the real estate industry as well as other industries to prepare your life and to prepare your business in the event of a crisis. And so her background is so interesting. I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about that so she can kind of set the stage of why she's an expert in this area and why we need experts like her to educate us. So, Coni, just tell us a little bit more about your background.
Well, what I can preface this by saying is that everything that I've done since my mid-20s, and I'm going to be 73 here in a couple weeks, has led me to crisis knowledge management. Every single occupation, everything I ever did. I had a couple of insurance agencies. I was a FEMA trainer and inspector for 7 years. I always wanted to write a book for consumers about how to be better prepared for disasters. And I'm finally coming out with that book here in about 3 or 4 weeks. I'm super excited about it. But truly, I mean, I helped 2 companies, one of which people in California are very familiar with, Online Ed. I was one of the founders of that. And one of the ones that talked CAR into offering free continuing education. So I'm super proud of that. I also was a principal and a founder in a home inspection business. At the time we sold it back in the early 90s, it was the largest home inspection network in the country. And that was back when you had to explain to a realtor what a home inspection was, number one. And their question was always, why do I need that? So now we know why, right? So then my husband passed away 10 years ago, and I became a life coach and a business coach, which I'd actually been doing all my life because I've always been supporting salespeople and developing and recruiting and helping them be successful. So I'd actually been doing that all my life. But it wasn't until I was ready to quit in 2019. I decided I was sick. I'd had some kind, whatever the flu bug was back then. And I had decided I was going to quit. And I went to the National Association of Women Business Owners. A friend of mine was a keynote speaker. And I had decided I wasn't making a difference, that nothing was, I'd written several books, but I just, whatever went on in my head. And I went to this meeting and she says, so what are you up to? And I said, Kirsten, I think I'm quitting. And she put her finger in my face and she said, you are not quitting. And I will not let you quit. She says, what you've done since your husband passed away is amazing. And I talk about it all the time. So I came home and I'm sitting there in my chair, and I had this thought, which I've had over the years, what's that FEMA stuff have to do with anything I'm doing today? 3 weeks later is when the education director for CAR sent an email out and said, these are the topics we're looking for. And one of them was on disasters. And so I wrote a simple little 3-hour course, and it's on the CAR website. And then as I'm in the panel that you were a part of, I'm listening to, there was a FEMA director, there was the guy that heads up the CERT program, the AE for Santa Barbara, and then a friend of ours who had been through the Malibu fires. And as I'm listening to them talking, I'm realizing there's so much more that needs to be said about, and not just natural disasters or not just man-made disasters, but crisis as a whole, because we don't know what we don't know, right? And one of the things that we don't know is how important things like mindset and communication, and none of that was included in that first course. So that's how the crisis knowledge management came to be. But I've come to really appreciate how important it is for every aspect of our lives. So that's kind of my journey. It's been an interesting one. It's definitely not been dull, that's for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, you've done so many different things that have prepared you for this role and this mission. So let's talk about the mission of CKM Solutions.
Well, and I came up with this number. I actually, it was a percentage. So I use the percentage 20% of Americans are prepared for disasters. And even that 20% are not fully prepared. There's very few, maybe 1 or 2% of people that actually have everything they need in place. But I use the number 20%, and I wanted to take it to 25%, which means that I need to help 30 million people be better prepared. And my goal is to do it over the next 5 years. So the only way for that to happen, I can't do that by myself. The only way for that to happen is to have people like you become my CKM advisors and get the word out. So that's how the power of preparedness came to be. And again, it doesn't just cover natural or man-made disasters. It covers all aspects of crisis that can happen in our lives and what to do to help you or anybody else be better prepared. So the certification came to be because I want people to go out there, educate their communities, help their communities be better prepared. And what is that going to do for them? Well, who are they going to call when they need your services? They're going to call somebody who's been out there giving back and making a difference and being visible. So in a nutshell, that's kind of what the program is all about. And I'm really happy that Lori, you're going to be part of the team and help to spread the word. So I really appreciate the conversation.
Thank you. Yeah, I recently became certified under Coni's program, and let me tell you, there is so much information in that course, and I learned so many things that will prepare me better in my personal life for my family. I mean, I did not have my personal affairs in order when it comes to my emergency kits and my emergency plans, and taking the course has reminded me of the importance of that. And so I have taken those steps to get some of those completed. Now it's not I haven't completed the list, I'll be honest, but I am further along than I have ever been. And the good thing is I'm able to share that information with my friends and with my family. And so, taking that course and getting certified was something that was important to me, because you and I talked about it well over a year ago. I mean, I can't even specifically remember when we did that panel. Well, it was well over 18 months ago. It was probably closer to 2 years ago that we did that panel, and it was just eye-opening. So
Well,
I'm really
I think
excited to be an advisor for you.
you're all about risk management, and risk management is being prepared, right? What can you do to mitigate anything for your business or for your personal life? What can you do to mitigate things so that you're not taken by surprise? Our dear friend Sarah Kosowski, I can't say her last name properly. When she went through the Malibu fires, she was born and raised in Malibu, and her family house burned to the ground. Her mom was still living in it, and the fires had been going a different direction, and it was actually headed into the city. And she had an office there. I think she had 40 agents or something like that. So she was really worrying about everybody else, but she wasn't concerned because the fire was heading this other direction. All of a sudden it changed directions, and they got a knock on the door it was the middle of the night, and they had 15 minutes to get out. And she said she spent that first 10 minutes or so just spinning around in a circle, not knowing what to take. And when they got to the shelter, she had 2 little girls at the time. I think they're like 4 and 6, something like that. She got there, had nothing for the little girls. And you take that one step further and you think about your business. If you don't know, maybe it's just a power outage. Maybe it's not something as severe as a fire, but maybe it's a power outage, or maybe it's, God forbid, a mass shooting, which we've talked a lot about, a shooter coming in or something like that. What you're going to do, you're going to freeze. That's what happens with your mind, is you freeze. So the very, very first thing you need to have is a resilient mindset. And that's the way that first responders do that, is by being prepared and drilling. That's how they get past that. And the gentleman who was the Captain Cody was his name. He'd been a fire chief or he'd been in the fireman for like 28 years, and he was the head of the CERT program, which is a hands-on training. And when the Woodland Hills fires were happening and it went into his neighborhood, he talked about how he had to really work hard to work on being responsive and not going into that fear factor himself. So if somebody that trained can do that, what is the normal human being, how are you going to react? And so what the training does is it helps you to overcome that by giving you the steps needed both for mindset as well as preparedness. And I think that's the difference. The big difference is you'll respond rather than thinking about it.
Right. And it's so different when you are advising or coaching or just help listening and responding to other people's situations when it's your situation. And that's really my takeaway from his presentation. His comments were that, he knows what to do when it's affecting someone else. The moment it was affecting him, it's like his mind, froze for a second. And I think that that's pretty common. And even in the real estate industry, when we're advising our clients on how to proceed in a transaction, it's simple because we do this every day. When we're in a personal transaction, we sort of take things more personally and we get more frustrated and we forget and, even just second guess yourself on how to fill out the contract when, you're filling out contracts all the time. But when it's your situation, it's a little different. And so I love the idea of focusing on the mindset, which is just being calm, being prepared, and then you can apply that. You'll know what to do in those situations. By nature.
I love this when the other day, last week, when we were talking about, I was talking about resilient mindset, and you said risk management mindset. I mean, truly, that's what resilient mindset is all about. You've got your risk managed as best you can. You can't have answers for every single situation, but you can certainly do all the work that you need to do. And it's so critically important. Just think, if something happens and you're a realtor and you've got all these clients out there and you've got contracts out there and you've got buyers and sellers and all that, and how are you going to continue that business? How are you going to make sure that it's nonstop? Like, I loved the association that we were at, and they were talking about how they had an attack, and their members, until they didn't even know that they transitioned without any problem for their membership. And I think that's such a gift. So think of that as a real estate professional. What can you do to make sure? And then as you're doing it, you're giving back to your community all at the same time. I mean, that's the beauty of it, is it's really a win-win-win-win scenario. The community gets better, the citizens of the community get better, you're better, and your clients are better.
Absolutely. And to clarify, so the attack that they had was a cyber attack. That wasn't mentioned, so I want to make sure everyone knows that it was cyber versus any type of other attack. Yeah, but our industry, we're helpers. We want to make sure that everybody has what they need. We're very service oriented. We're givers by nature. And so when you talk about giving back to the community, can you expand a little further on how an agent having this knowledge can give back to their community? What would that look like?
Well, what I've done is, once you become a CKM advisor, as you're going through the process, every single month I come out with new information that you can provide out to your community. And I provide a video training that you can either just email out what I send you. I also I give you a slide presentation that if you want to do the presentations yourself, you can. I ghostwrite an article about whatever that topic is. Like last month it was on fires. And this month, since it's National Preparedness Month, and it's also REALTOR Safe. Well, we're coming to the end of it now, but we're going to be talking about that. The month before it was on heat waves. So every single month, there's something new that you can use to take out to your community to be better inform them, and taking it to the civic organizations, taking it to your past clients, taking it to your church, your school, wherever you want to present it, or just putting together meetings where you're looking for clients. It's a perfect tool that gives them something valuable and concrete information that they can have, and you're the one giving it to them. So the first training you go through, once you become a CCAM, you're able to go out and talk about the preparedness. And so I'm super excited about that. And I think let's talk about a broker for a second. So as a broker owner, what better way to recruit new people? But because this is a tool that isn't out there all over the place. This is a brand new tool, and it's something that's different. It's a unique product. So it's something that you can use to recruit and then retain it, because every month you're going to be offering these agents something new that they can use. So it's I really designed it around, how do I help people be prepared, number one. But second of all, how can I help people promote themselves and the reason why they're giving back? So I've had the book that's coming out. It's called When the Unthinkable Happens, Be Prepared, Be Ready. And I'm doing everything I can. I've got 5 best-selling books now. This is going to be number 6. And when it's number 6 as a best-selling book, you'll be able to put a chapter in that book that talks about why you want to become a CCAM advisor, why you want to give back to your community, and why you're passionate about the work that you're doing. And that becomes an incredible marketing tool that you can now say you're a co-author of a best-selling book. Whether you have any other books or not, you're going to be a bestseller in this book.
Awesome. When we talk about what we can offer to our community, as I mentioned, we're givers, we're helpers. This is the information that you can get from this course will allow you to provide content to the community, whether it's through a flyer or in your newsletter, or hosting seminars for people to come in and learn what it means to be prepared. And of course, when you become an advisor, then you just have much more information to be able to do that, and some other incentives as well. And so I'm really excited because you and I have partnered together on many panels now, and many online conversations, and we're partnering on this. And so we've got some really cool things in the works. So stay tuned. I am all about risk management, and Coni is also about risk management, but in safety. And you touched on something that was really important. You spoke about, as a broker, what you can offer to your agents. And you mentioned recruiting, and that's always something that brokers are interested in, but even just to offer to your agents. One of the tools or one of the resources that we're working on together that would be offered, let's hope by January, we're ready to roll, but is that ongoing information that can be used in office meetings. Because as you mentioned, September is Realtor Safety Month, and it is also National Preparedness Month. But let's face it, we talk at great length during the month of September about this topic, and then we don't really talk about it much else. And so the resources that you're going to be offering, either the advisors or through another opportunity with your company coming soon, will be just that. It'll be information that can be shared with your agents on a monthly basis. So you have something to offer your agents that most companies are not offering. And if nothing else, you care about your people. And so you want to make sure they know this information. So I'm getting a note that we have a question in the chat. What is CKM's relationship to CERT? Oh, that's a great question.
Well, the CERT program. So CERT stands for the Community Emergency Response Team. It's actually a program. It started out in LA, actually. It started out by the LA Fire Department. They went to Japan after a big earthquake, and they saw all these residents in these communities pulling together to try to rebuild after that. And they were quite organized, but then they also went to South America. I think it was in Brazil, where there was another one, and there were over 100 people killed trying to help other people after an earthquake. So they came back and they developed this program, and it's hands-on and it's customized depending upon what area you're in. So like in Southern Cal, it would be you're training for, it's hands-on, it's light search and rescue, it's first aid, it's resuscitation, organizing teams, and it'd be for earthquakes and fires and floods, whatever the needs are for your community. And then they have over 600,000 volunteers that have gone through this training. And they're in over 2,700 communities. 2 of my people on my team have taken the training. and I've taken the training. I think it's such a valuable tool. So our relationship, we're actually working on that a little bit right now because I want to be more tied to CERT program. But the CERT program is readily available in all kinds of communities. You can reach out to them. The training is 17 and a half hours. It's free. And it's a very, very valuable tool. And think about how you're always talking about risk management, Lori. I mean, just think if you were to take that training and offer it out to your community and say, hey, because you can put together a team, and they even have all the training and everything for you to use to teach people how to be CERT volunteers. So I am talking to them right now about how we can make a board, but I talk about them in the training, and they're just an amazing organization.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually was prompted by the panel we were on 2 years ago to look into the CERT program. And in the community I was living in, I happened to receive the little community magazine a couple weeks after that, and they were offering the CERT training, and it was like a week later, and they had space, but I wasn't available. And it's a 2-day training. And so I wasn't available. It's like a Saturday and a Sunday, and you have to be available both days, and I just wasn't. So I put my name on the interest list, and literally last week, I just got the email that says, hey, we have another session coming up, because they do it in person, because
Yes.
you're doing hands-on activities. This isn't anything you can do by video, from what I understood from the description in the video they had that I watched 2 years ago. So because of COVID, they weren't doing the training apparently. And I just got the email that they have an upcoming session in October, and it happens to be, when we're like just getting back from CAR, and I'm not available that weekend. So I was really bummed, because yes, it is free. It sounds a little intimidating. I mean, it sounds like it's really physical activity, but I'm really excited to be able to take it, but it just so far has not worked out. So I'm hopeful, there will be additional trainings. And now I live in a new community, so that's inconvenient anyway.
Well, I think as things start opening up because of COVID, I think you're going to see more and more of those trainings going on, and you'll have more options as far as where to go and take the training. It is hands-on. It's very hands-on. Anna, my partner, took it, and because of COVID, she didn't get the last session, and they shut it down. So she has to go back and finish it. But so when you had a little bit of a shake here a few months ago. She lives in Woodland Hills, and there was a little bit of a shake, and she had her go bag. She had her shoes by her bed. And when the little shake happened, she said, I didn't even think. I put my shoes on, I grabbed my go bag, and I was stepped over to the door to head out. And then it stopped, thank God. So she didn't have to go any further, but she said all that training, both the training through the certification program as well as that CERT training, taught her what she needed to do. So it's extremely valuable. It's extremely valuable for you, but then it's also extremely valuable for the people. Can you imagine going out to your clients and saying, hey, let's do this together? And we have all you have to do is reach out to me if you want to put together a team. I have all the information about how to put the team together, how to put the training together. I've got all the materials. So if that's something that you're interested in, we can certainly put that together.
Yeah, we should definitely talk more about that, because I'm interested, and I don't know what the offerings are here in South Orange County, but it would be great. I'll look into that and post in the chat later on any information I can find on that's already available to us. So awesome. So let's talk about the training that you and I are going to be doing in November. So that is the Power Preparedness Part 1. And so you've talked about the certification, and not everybody is going to want to be certified, but that's a longer process. And so in order for us to start educating our community, this nerdy real estate resources community and beyond, we have decided to put together Part 1 and make it available via Zoom on November 18th. And it'll be a 1-hour session starting at 9:30. And Coni and I are going to conduct that class, and it's a $25 fee for the class, and it will get you information to use in your farm, with your clients, more importantly, or more immediately with your family, in your own home and beyond. And then that is Part 1 toward that certification. So if people want to get that certification, this is the first course in order to do that. And so what are the types of things that the attendees will learn during that class, Connie?
Well, I think the most important thing is to understand what being prepared means, number one, but number two, what that does to your mindset. I mean, one of the things that is you need to have a resilient or a risk management mindset, and you need to be able to respond rather than have to think about it. So the first thing you're going to learn is how to have the right mindset and what that means to be prepared. So here's a little hint. People think, okay, I've got an emergency kit. It's got some water in it. It's got some food. It might have a flashlight, and I'm good to go. Well, in the reality, most people need at least 4 kits, emergency kits. They need to have the emergency kit that has all the things in it that they need to have or they need to take. But if you are being rescued, or if you have time to be able to, I'm sorry, you don't have time and you have to go, then you need a go bag that has just your pure necessities like medication, toothbrush, just bare essential things that you can grab and take. And then you need to have a kit for your car. So you're in the middle of an earthquake and you're in your car, and all of a sudden the bridge is down, or something happens where you can't go any further. What do you need to have in your car? And then, or if there's a fire, what do you need to have in your car? And then the other one is, if you work outside of your office, you need to have a kit for your office. And most people don't know that. So, and then if you have children, or you have elderly, or you have disabled people that are in your home or in your office, you need to have preparations for them that are special kits. So you can have all kinds of kits that you need to have. You just need to know what you need, what you don't know needs to go into those kits. So we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to talk about plans. What kind of plans do you need to have for your home, for your kids? What are your parent plans? What are your kid plans? There was when the hurricane, one of the first hurricanes this year happened in Houston, and this woman, she was not able to reach her kids for 24 hours. They were at school. Mm-hmm. So can you imagine how, I can't even imagine putting my brain around not being able to get to my kids. Anyway, so what do you need to have for them as a plan? What do you need to have for an evacuation plan? What do you need to have for your business plan? And a hint here is you need to have a crisis management team. And if you're a one-person office, you still need to have that team. So we talk about that. We talk about how to be a good leader, because if you are a good leader, you might be a great broker owner, or you might be great at running whatever the business is you're running, but you might be totally the wrong person to run a crisis management team. So what does that look like, and how do you put that together? So we'll be talking about that. And then specific disasters in Southern Cal, we'll be talking about earthquakes and fires and floods and drought, those types of things. So those are the kind of things that we want to cover that will help you to be better prepared. And once you're prepared, all of a sudden that you know what to do to mitigate anything you can possibly do, which helps with your risk management.
That's terrific. So we had a question, 9:30 until what time? I'm sorry, it's a 1-hour class, so it'll be 9:30 to 10:30, and that'll be part 1. And then, so you're going to walk away with some great takeaways, things that you can do to start your preparation now. And I will say, we all think we can build that emergency kit. I am living proof that I have the list. I have yet to make that a priority. So I went out. I went online. I didn't go out. I went online and I purchased emergency kits, and they had things in there I would have never even thought of. And so sure, I could have gotten the list and probably spent less money, but the time I would have spent driving from store to store to collect all those items and then, check them off and make sure I got everything would not have happened in one day, would not have come as neatly packaged as I was able to get by purchasing a ready-made bag. And I actually got a kit that was for 5 people, thinking I could just buy an extra bag and split it up and give half to my dad and half for me. That didn't really quite work out. The kits are so well organized. I I can't split it up. I did split it up for my home, inside my home and inside my car. But I am going to be getting him his own kit because it just makes sense. So we have a question. Do we teach any personal self-defense? I don't believe you teach that in these courses.
No, the self-defense, I do have recommendations of where to go to, because I do talk about active shooters and mass killings in the course. But I have recommendations for where to go because that's really hands-on. That's not something you can do online. I do give you suggestions of things that you need to have and to help prepare yourself for a personal defense. But you really need to find somebody in your local area because that's just like CERT. It's really hands-on training that you need to go through. So I have recommendations, but we don't actually teach it. I am looking at putting together something though, because I have a couple of CCAM advisors that have personal defense background and training. So we are thinking about putting together kind of a suggested kit or add-on course for it. And by the way, by November, we're hoping to have we're customizing a kit, especially for kids. I have a nonprofit and I put together a program called Kits for Kids, and we're putting together the funding for it right now. We're working on the grants and stuff right now, but it'll be all about how to put a kit in the hands of every child, which with the idea being, if we get kits out to kids, then maybe the parents will realize that they need to have kits as well. And that's another added benefit for taking this training. You'll be a part of that.
Okay, terrific. So I don't know if it's you or me, but one of us is having a little bit of internet issues. Okay, Lisa says it was Connie. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, but I think we got it. It was like just a second, just a split second. So regarding the personal self-defense, no, but you're looking for possibly instructors, local instructors that could teach that. And remember, our last meeting in August, our last Monday Morning Coffee and Compliance, we had Tracy Hawkins on. And so she did a meeting with us and talked about personal safety. She's in another state. So she's not here local to be able to teach that training in person, but I do know she travels around the country. And so, you know, I don't know if maybe one day we can get her out here. If she's going to be out here already, we can get her to stop by and maybe do a session, but we certainly know there are others. And for those of you that are Orange County Realtors members, keep in mind, we did have Realtor Safety Week. Gosh, I think that was the week of the 13th. I think that was 2 weeks ago now. And the video from Jeff Lieberman is on the website. So we'll post it in the chat and you can go and rewatch his video. It's not a hands-on self-defense, but he does go over some really great personal safety tips.
I am putting a panel together, which you'll be a part of, and Tracy will probably be a part of, but the people that were on the different sessions that we went and spoke at, I'm reaching out to them right now to see what we can do to put together a panel that will talk about safety, talk about defense, all that kind of stuff. And I think that'll be a really fun panel to go around the state and teach around.
Yeah, wonderful. And I'm reminded that my good friend Susie Dunkel Soto does a self-defense course, a personal safety class. I don't think she teaches self-defense, but she does the personal safety course, and she's on right now. So shout out Susie. We'll be sure to get you connected with Connie. I think you guys are already friends, but
yeah, we're friends. Well, I didn't realize she had something like that, so definitely we need to add her to the list.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. So what else do you do? Tell us a little bit more about some of the other projects you've been working on lately.
Oh boy. Well, I actually have when the unthinkable happens, be prepared, be ready. It's actually the book that I mentioned earlier when I was doing FEMA that I wanted to do for consumers. And so that's been a major project for me, and we're getting ready to release it. So I'm working hard on doing pre-marketing. By the way, it's going to be a perfect book for you to give out to potential clients and to people that you're wanting to, your clients that you've already had, because it's a perfect gift for them to be able to understand why it's so important. You know, one of the things we didn't talk about is why now, right? We obviously know the pandemic that was one big disaster. It's now almost 2 years, but in 2020 we had disasters that never happened before. And they all happened. There was a 6-week period where they all happened within that same period of time. And the disasters, as you can see, the drought is worse here than it's ever been. I live in Las Vegas, and Lake Mead is, they're already talking about it could run out of water if something doesn't change. And that will affect Southern California, because Southern California gets some of their water from Lake Mead as well. So it's definitely something we need to be worried about. And look at the fire. So in 2019, there were 2 million acres. That was the average that were burnt every year in fires. In 2020, that went to 4 million. And when I was doing the research for the fire course, this was, I released it, it was like the end of August, and we were up to 5.8 million acres at that time. And there's something like 90 fires burning right now all across California and Nevada and Arizona. So why is this important? It's important because we've got to do something. Every single one of us has a role to play. So most of the work that I'm doing is wrapped around awareness, but I also do stuff on leadership. And I have actually it's on the CAR education website. It's crystalline moments of leadership. And leadership is so critically important, whether you're talking about disasters or crisis or something else that's going on in your personal life. How to manage something, how to overcome problem solving, how to make the right decision. So I do a lot of work along those lines, and I help people create a vision for their business. What does that business look like? And taking into consideration everything that you're doing. I help offices become better prepared and making sure they have their correct business continuity plan, which is a pretty lengthy and in-depth process. You take it one step at a time, because otherwise it's too overwhelming. So I love doing work like that. So if somebody needs help with their planning, they can reach out to me and I'll be more than happy to assist them. So that's some of the projects. I have another book that it's ready to be published, where I've interviewed women in leadership in real estate. It's called Crystalline Voices, and it's women in leadership positions. So I've interviewed some amazing, amazing women to go in that book. It was all ready to be published when I had that aha moment of getting that email from CAR saying they wanted something on disasters. So that changed my course. So I'm hoping by the beginning of the year, I'm hoping to be able to finish that book and get it out. So I've got just a few projects that I'm working on.
Yeah, you're always working on something. And so every time we have a conversation, you've always got some new ideas, and I'm very fortunate to be able to brainstorm with you. And as I mentioned previously, we've got some things that we're collaborating on together that we're really excited about, that we will be launching hopefully in January, for sure in January.
For sure in January. Yeah.
Okay, so a couple of questions. Do association members get a discount on the CKM training? I think that is the discount, right? Because you are charging more for other
on the website.
industries.
It's $200 for the training. And so if we're going to do it in increments at $25, that's a bargain.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. And so the date and time and where to sign up for the November class. So it's going to be November 18th from 9:30 to 10:30. It's via Zoom. I just sent Lisa, who is managing the Q&A. Lisa is the Facebook manager, logistical manager extraordinaire. I just sent her the link to the class. So if anyone is interested, you can go ahead and sign up for the class. And if you're not able to make that date, drop us a note and let us know that you're interested, and we'll be coming up with the calendar of future dates. So this is the one that we want to start promoting now. We wanted to have it in October, but we are in back-to-back conferences finally with CAR and then Inman, and so October was just not going to work. And Coni is doing trainings across the country as well, so just a lot going on in October.
Yeah, fortunately and unfortunately, right? Well, the other thing I wanted to mention, if there's something that people want a particular interest in, or they have a particular question and they'd like to see something added to the class. So I probably should go over what the 4 sections are of the class. The first section is overview, preparation, what you need to know. The second session it's called survival, mindset, leadership, and communication. And then the third course is insurance, mortgages, and recovery services. And the fourth course is disaster types. So natural disasters, we cover everything. And then man-made disasters, we cover power outages, we cover explosions, we cover shootings, we cover cyber attacks. All of that's covered in the man-made. And we go into how to be prepared for each one of those and what to look for. So those are all things that are covered in the different classes. And we'll probably be revamping it a little bit because we're kind of doing a new thing now with the way what we're talking about. So some of that's going to be in the first class for sure. And then we'll expand on it in the subsequent classes, but there'll be 4.
Excellent. And then a 5th class if you want to be certified to actually learn how to teach the class.
Right. And then yes, going through the certification on how to teach it. So it's going to be, I'm looking forward to this, Lori. I think it's going to be a really easy way for people to go through this training. And if we can just save one life, think about this. If you're out there in your community and you're making a difference and you are supporting them in being prepared and being able to know what to do, and you save one life, or you save one building, or you save money because everything was as mitigated as they possibly could be mitigated. Not only will you look good in your community, but anytime you can help somebody, and I'm sure everybody on this has helped somebody at one time or another, and the feeling that you get from supporting somebody when you can. There's to me, that's my life, is how I can support people. And I think just one little thing that we can do to make a difference. And to be honest with you, we all have to step up to the plate at this point in time. We're in critical mass. Climate change is changing even faster than the scientists ever thought that it was going to. The Antarctica is melting 30 times faster than they thought it was going to. These are all things that are going to affect us both in our lives as well as our pocketbooks. So we all have a responsibility. We can't be hoarding toilet paper anymore.
Good points. Good points. So the entire course, the 4 courses you mentioned, is that the $200? You normally charge $200 for the 4 courses? Okay. That's a question to clarify that. So,
yeah.
So yes, you are getting a discount being a Nerdy Real Estate Resources member of this Facebook group. So, and yes, November 18th is class number 1. We will have, we'll put together the calendar for the remaining 3 classes, as well as a new series that will start.
That's a good date, yeah.
Your date, yeah. So
For
stay
sure.
tuned for the calendar. So lots of great information. I mean, if you haven't noticed, Coni is a wealth of information. She can tell you any statistic related to crises and disasters. It's just fascinating listening to all the stories. And, you know, as a former FEMA instructor or inspector, sorry, not instructor.
Inspector and I was a trainer as well.
Okay.
I went around the country training FEMA inspectors.
So tell us like the craziest thing or the coolest thing or the worst thing that you ever saw.
Okay, I have 2 really great stories. Okay, well, first of all, let me clarify. When you apply for individual assistance for FEMA, it's all about being safe, secure, and sanitary. That's it. They don't care. They want you to have a TV, but they don't care what size it is. They have a flat dollar amount they're going to give you for a TV. And so when the Northridge earthquake, which was the first disaster that I ever worked on, I was going out and people they had like the second refrigerator. Well, FEMA allows you 1, they don't allow you 2. But what people were doing was they were moving the refrigerator from apartment to apartment to apartment, thinking that they were going to get a second refrigerator or more money. So that was pretty funny. But I think the most poignant story was one of the very first ones after Northridge. I was doing some floods in Central California, and I pulled up in front of this house, and this elderly man was sitting on the doorstep, and he had what looked like just a bunch of old wood sitting in his hands. And I get out of the car and I introduced myself, and he's in tears. And I said, "How can I help you?" And he said, now he was probably in his mid 80s. This was my grandfather's toolbox. So when you're thinking about preparedness, if you have something that is invaluable, like pictures, for example, or some kind of heirlooms, if they're too big to put in your emergency kit, make sure you think about what you're going to do with that stuff, because it's heartbreaking. And then I think the funniest story, I mean, people try to pull the wool over inspectors' eyes, especially after the initial, where the people have the real needs. And I was up in the Clear Lake area doing flooding. And I get this, we get them on our pads, and I get one and it says house fire. Well, I always use the fire departments for my station at the time. And so I was in the fire department and I talked to the guy and he says, yeah, it burned down because of the floods. It was an electrical fire. And so I said, okay. And I told him what I needed to have. But one of the things I need to have if there was a fire is I need the fire report. So I went into the fire chief and he says, I said who it was, and the entire room started bursting out laughing. And he said that fire didn't start because of the storms. It happened because there was a battle going on for the new casino that was going in that location. So it burned down because of that. And a couple of days later, I had another one in the same area, and I went out there. She said there was water coming in. I said, okay, this sounds legitimate. I get out there, and there's these red circles all around. They look like red polka dots all around the outside of this mobile home, and it had been shot up. And so she was thinking if the water was coming in because of the bullet holes. I had to get out of there before I burst out laughing. It was like, so I could write another book just on some of the crazy experiences that I've had, but really, truly being an FEMA inspector, I became physically addicted to the job. I mean, I would come back and the first thing I would do is turn on the Weather Channel, and I would figure out where I was going next. And 2 days after I would be home, I would have physical withdrawal. I would get sick. And it was just because it's so intense. As a FEMA inspector, you're working 18 hours a day, and you have enough time to grab some sleep, and then you're at it again 7 days a week until it starts slowing down. But I became physically addicted. I'll never forget when we started online ed. There was another hurricane in North Carolina, which happens all the time. And they always would put out a call for people. Well, I was one of the top 20 inspections, so I always got called right away. And I'm driving from Bakersfield. I'm headed from Vegas to Santa Barbara. And I'm in my car, and I've got my headset on, and I didn't look to see who the call was from. And it was from the contractor, Parsons Brinckerhoff, that was who I worked for. And they said, we really need to have you come. This hurricane was horrible. The water went backwards up the rivers. And the whole time I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, I can't. I've got this new business that I'm doing. And I am just like, I can't do this. But in my stomach, I'm saying, oh my God, I want to go. I want to go. And I get to Santa Barbara, and I don't remember the name of the hotel, but it's been there since the 40s. It's up on top of a hill that looks down all of Santa Barbara and the ocean. And I would always go there, and I'd have my glass of Chardonnay and my Caesar salad, and I'd sit up there. And so I'm sitting up there, and I'm like, what in the world is wrong with you? You want to go where there's water moccasins and mold and alligators. And I mean, you just never know what you're going to be facing when you're a FEMA inspector. I used to hand climb up the sides of mountains to get to houses. So it's obviously at my age, I can't do it anymore, but I still, whenever I hear about a disaster, I still want to go. And actually, and 9/11 was the first disaster I didn't go to. So I had been in a car accident and I couldn't. So, but I would have gone. They wouldn't have had to pay me. I would have gone. So these people that are out there doing these inspections, they're dedicated to getting it right. They're dedicated to making sure that it's a real claim. And there's all kinds of safeguards to make sure that that happens. But the inspectors that are out there, you have to take your hat off to them because they are amazing. And a lot of them were addicted just like me. I'm not the only one. So yeah, it was a fascinating time in my life. And it actually taught me, really, I think that was the beginning of my realization of what I was really put on this earth to do. Because when I left, I was sad that I left. Online Ed was a great organization, and I love helping to found it and get the things up and going and stuff. And that helped teach me about how to do that for online ed, and help teach me how to do it for everything I'm doing now, is that sense of service and that sense of giving back. So it's become it was a very valuable learning curve for me. And I would do it again in a heartbeat if I was capable of it, let me tell you.
That's amazing.
The good news is I'm doing it in a different way now. I'm helping the public, I'm helping realtors, I'm helping business owners be able to be a part of that and get that sense of satisfaction. that you get when you know you're serving someone or you're helping. Just what you do with real estate. I mean, you're supporting somebody in the biggest purchase they're probably ever going to make and helping them sell those properties. I mean, that's such a gift. When you are able, I know the two realtors that I've had recently were just phenomenal individuals and went above and beyond what they needed to do to make the experience good. So take that and just switch the hat a little bit. And it's just a different type of risk management training that you're getting and supporting.
That's right. Yeah, it's so important. I'm so glad that we had the opportunity to have you on here today to share some of these stories. I mean, we can only imagine. We see things, we see video footage on the news, and we're not there. We're not experiencing it. You were. So I know you've seen so many different things. You've helped so many different people, and you're just helping people in that moment. And if there's an actual crisis, you were there helping them in that moment get through it. But what you're offering today is helping people to be prepared for the event that hopefully never happens. But if it does happen, they have what they need. They have the knowledge, they have the resources, the equipment, whatever is needed. So
there's a very interesting statistic that was come out with from the Association of CPAs, and 61% of Americans believe that they are going to be affected by some type of disaster over the next 3 to 5 years. You take the other side of that coin, 15 to 35% say they are prepared. And that's not true. People are not prepared, as you found out. But also there's another really serious statistic from FEMA, and that is 75% of all businesses that are affected by a disaster and do not have an emergency plan will be out of business in 2 years. They may reopen up after, say, a year or so, but they will not be able to continue that for another year, and they'll be out of business, 75%. So those are two really good reasons why, first of all, you need to be prepared, and then you need to have your business prepared, and then you need to help your community be prepared.
that's right. You know, we talk a lot about having the business prepared for the Department of Real Estate coming in and how to prevent fair housing claims. We really haven't talked at length in this program about the other ways you need to be prepared for your business in the event of a disaster. And do you have that business continuity? Do you have that plan, that safety plan? And so I'm really glad that we've been talking about that. You and I have been talking about that in other programs, and we need to start including that here. So
definitely.
Yeah, so once again, thank you for joining me today. And Lisa, she's, like I said, managing all the logistics, but she's got some workers at her house, so that's why she's not on camera today. She's trying to keep the noise and distraction down, but she's here in spirit. So thank you for being here. I look forward to, number one, seeing you at CAR in a couple of weeks, and then at Inman in your turf in Vegas. And then we'll be seeing each other again at NAR in San Diego, and then we'll be doing this class. So wonderful. Well, it looks like Coni froze for a second. So with that, thank you again for being here. Remember, you can sign up for the class. That link is in the chat, and I hope that I will see many of our Nerdy Real Estate Resources friends here. And so with that, thank you all. I shall see you soon. On behalf of Lisa and I, have a safe week. There, you're back. Just in time to say goodbye.
Yes, I was just going to say, anybody that is coming to Inman and wants to reach out, please do. I live here. I can give you suggestions on things off of the strip that I always remind people the strip is only 3.5 miles. The rest, there's a whole bunch more in Las Vegas, and it's a very friendly town. So reach out to me. That's right. And there will be a Woman Up meetup, and so we will see you there. Definitely. Definitely. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Lisa, for all that great work behind the scenes. And thank you for the opportunity to talk with you about this important topic. Thanks, Coni. We'll talk to you soon then. Take care. All righty. Bye, everyone.